Boom! Hey, welcome, fight fans, to another episode of Before the Bald Man Speaks. I'm your host, as always, Andrew the Conqueror. Well, I'm not your host, as always. Let's rewind a little bit. We've been on hiatus for a little bit, but we've had very competent, very exciting, very great co-hosts in my stead. One of them is our guest today, helping me wrap up all the action from UFC Croatia, UFC Zagreb, UFC Fight Night 86, whatever you really want to call it. No matter what, it was some action on a Sunday morning. Here to help me break it down is one of my favorite broadcasters on all of YouTube. You know him as the master of the Flyin Brian show. It's Flyin Brian J, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Brian?
I'm great, Andrew. Thanks for having me on. I've been on the show 3 times now, but none of those times you were here. So it's really great to just talk to you for the first time.
You know, that's the best part. Before you get to actually meet, you know, the head of the thing, you got to go through my lackeys, my underlings. I'm like the final boss in a video game.
So Nick Jr. was like the underling, and I've talked to him a bunch of times. Now I'm at you.
You have to beat my emissary, my consigliere. Before I made more Italian phrases, let's break down a little bit this card from UFC Zagreb. The main event against Junior Dos Santos against Big Ben Rothwell. The Dark Sith Lord had a tough day at the office today. Junior Dos Santos kind of derailing all of that momentum that he had been building over the last few months here. What are your takeaways from this main event? It's clearly very sad for us Big Ben Rothwell fans, but overall it just happened. What are your instant reactions from the fight? What is your takeaways?
You know, I'm actually not that sad about it. You know, Ben Rothwell is the heavyweight champion of the small cage. He switched divisions, went to the big cage heavyweight division. It didn't work out for him. Now he goes back to the small cage, and he'll defend his belt there. It's all going to work out fine.
I'm so glad that someone has already such a positive spin on this. Instantly, I'm rejuvenated. Big Ben Rothwell is yet to fall, yet to be defeated, really, in his own division. This makes me, this brings me some delight because I'm a big Junior Dos Santos fan in general, too, so it was nice to kind of see him actually be a capable fighter. But the death of Big Ben Rothwell was very sad. But yeah, he was out of his natural element. There was at least twice the square footage that he was used to covering. So if you put him in that small cage again, death rains down? Death from above?
I would assume so. Look at all the movement that JDS used. He wouldn't be able to use half that movement in the small cage. And I think Ben obviously go-go chokes his ass in the first round. I think that's pretty obvious.
Do you think that heavyweight movement should be made illegal in mixed martial arts fighting?
Yeah, I mean, the small cage should be made smaller even. You know where the 2 lines are around? I think that is the heavyweight cage, and that's what we should do moving forward. I'm going to call Dana as soon as he's done with the press conference, and I'll tell him.
Yeah, let's move the cage in to where the inner octagon line is, and then let's move that line in as well, and let's make a small moat in between the cage and that secondary line. So we really get it down to like 10 square feet where these guys can fight. That's, I think, a real determiner of how you can fight. You know, out in nature, you don't have all this space to move around.
Yeah, and like JDS said in his post-fight interview, you know, he's not with this wrestling or jiu-jitsu. Guys, he's a boxer. That's all we need. Heavyweights. You see what happens when they wrestle. You know, fatties fattying with the wrestling. Just box.
God, that was some legendary post-fight interviewing. I'm not like. Let's have a casual shout down on jiu-jitsu real quick. Yeah, jiu-jitsu guys, not a big deal.
Yeah, I only want to box. I don't want to wrestle. I never want to face Cain Velasquez again. Please don't give me that fight.
Yeah, it seems like wrestling's basically throw that in the category of head movement and footwork with the other illegal things we should make in heavyweight MMA. It's only good if guys box.
Pretty much. So basically we're making boxing but with a moat and a smaller area to fight.
We can also add carnivorous amphibious animals into the mix. I don't know, crocodiles, piranhas, what have you, you know?
Yeah, the middleweight contender, Jacare Souza, put him in there, you know? If they get out of line, he'll put him in a rear naked choke or something.
He'll get a lot more paydays than he is currently with the UFC. If every single card he has to be in there swimming, doing laps during the fights.
More than likely. If we were to put a black beast in there, now that'd be some
There'd have to be like a jungle section, so like a small corner of the moat, like it becomes just like a little creek, you know, it's not very deep, it's kind of shallow, and like he just prowls around on all fours, wearing some sort of cat mask, of course.
And the worst criminals in the world. So the Suicide Squad, they're there as well.
Okay, that's good. I think we fixed this card kind of did highlight just the pros and the cons of the UFC heavyweight division in general. You have these moments of great excitement, and you're like, damn, this is the wildest. MMA is a completely unpredictable sport, and then you just have some slogging trash. And I think we just solved all the problems of the slogging trash. Just throw them in the milk fight.
So we just cut Timothy Johnson, Marcin Tybura. Luckily, we don't have to cut Jared Roshold because he's already gone.
God, thank
Things
God.
are looking up.
You know what's funny? We joke about this, but we could get this licensed in like Texas or something.
Obviously, Texas, just don't smoke any weed, and you're fine.
No weed. Make sure we're drug testing all the employees, and we get the commission's graces really quickly.
If you test positive for PEDs, though, it's like a 2-week suspension. You got 3 months for the medical suspension for the concussion, but just 2 weeks for peeing hot.
Well, we got to be serious about head injury. We don't want this sport to become farcical.
Yeah, or with, closed eyes. We got to be serious about those type of things.
Good Lord, though. I was happy that they stopped that fight. We could jump from the main event, because honestly, we could talk a little bit more seriously about the main event, but it was just a little bit depressing for you, boy. I kind of had these visions of grandeur when it came to Ben Rothwell, and I was hoping he would live up to some weird Rudy-esque story where he would strive against the forces that be fighting against him, and he would rise to the occasion on the birth of darkness and just slaughter the entire heavyweight division. But alas, that was not to be, and I'm sad. Anything else, Brian, about the main event before we move on?
Well, we always talk about Ben Rothwell's intangibles. Well, Junior Dos Santos tangied the shit out of them.
It showed that all that awkwardness really doesn't work against someone who has some really fast hands. And JDS is like, oh, I'm a really good boxer, and I can just tap you up while you're doing that stupid lean to the side and close your goddamn eyeball.
Why didn't he do anything else, though? He just boxed the entire time with Junior Dos Santos. His corner was pleading with him, hey, why don't you look for a takedown? No. Anything other than box with this guy that's really good at boxing. And he's like, no, fuck it.
My thing was that zombie move that he does with the stiff arms walking. I thought that was just step one of a lot more interesting, unique stuff. That if that isn't working out, holy shit! He's got a different look for you, because they're talking about revolutionizing the game so much. I kind of bought into this idea that they really were revolutionizing the stand-up game. Now I feel like a goddamn fool, Brian.
That's where it stopped.
Oh, I feel like a goddamn fool.
We'll be okay.
I've been taken. By a used car salesman of Ben Rothwell. He told me he was a Dark Sith Lord, but he was just a guy from Kenosha.
Snake oil salesman.
Goddamn snake oil. I love it. All right, let's talk about a great point of the night with the Black Beast Derek Lewis, Black Beastin' all over Fox Sports 1 in his natural element in some co-main event in some godforsaken country that no one could point to on a map. Black Beast Derek Lewis, if he had a career entirely made up of beating people up on the co-main event of some random Sunday morning card on UFC Fox Sports 1, would that be overachieving, you think?
Probably. I mean, this guy, we're going to talk about some one-trick ponies later on. He's got one trick, but that trick is just so awe-inspiring that we'll see it on a Sunday morning. We don't want to pay $60 for this thing in a co-main event, but Sunday morning. Hell
Sunday morning, it's definitely worth the go. Well, the thing is Derek Lewis's trick isn't necessarily so much a trick as it is just being who he is, and that's the best part of it. You kind of get this feeling that he's just actualizing the truest form of himself and just out there beasting. No one taught you how to beast like that. He just threw those bungalows, and that's when the magic happens. When he starts to use the training and the technique, you're like, it looks a little awkward out there, buddy. Maybe you want to just... And then as soon as he goes non-cerebral with it, boom, Black Beast. Gabriel Gonzaga, dead.
He doesn't need to beast 25-8. He'll beast for 30 seconds of one day, and he'll still win goddamn fights. Screw beasting 25-8. I'm going 30 seconds.
Honestly, if you have to choose your beasting, you really should limit it, because that's a hard schedule to work. Sure, you're getting paid a lot of overtime when you're going 25-8, but, if you can get your paycheck done in 30 seconds, that's the beast mode to be operating under.
One thing I love about Derek Lewis is he said that there was a KFC down the street from the event,
No.
but he was too lazy to walk to it. He's like, it's not within walking distance, so I'm not going to go there.
That personifies everything I love about Derek Lewis as a fighter. He is not the most physically active fellow, but god damn it, will he get it done if it's right in front of his face. And
Brian Stan said that Derek said he was in perfect condition to come into this fight. And I'm like, when... No, is he ever in condition? This is all he states. So he's like, yeah, I feel normal. Let's go. Let's do it.
It's so funny.
And then he does that smash thing, and then he does this like weird dance by him, and he's like disrespecting Gabriel Gonzaga. And then in the post fight, he's like, I really respect Gabriel for taking this fight. But you just fucking give him the DX thing.
He gave him the shh and like the napping motion to him. He shushed the crowd and told him baby was a sleepy sleep. He told him baby was taking a nap. You gotta be quiet. And then he goes, I really respect that dude a lot. What the fuck, man?
We could really tell, Derek. We could really tell. Because we're good friends.
The respect is just flowing. It's just so deep. Oh, God. Derek Lewis, my favorite heavyweight fighter right now. Where is he on your top 10 list?
Well, my favorite's still Ben Rothwell. You know, I can't just give him up for that one. But, you know, I'll put Derek Lewis in a close second.
I'm cutthroat, bro. You lose one fight and I don't get anything entertaining out of you, you're done. You drop from the top. It doesn't matter to me. Ben Rothwell, you're regulated. You're still in the top 3. He's still extremely dope.
Here's the fight I want for Ben's next title defense in the small cage heavyweight division.
Okay.
Derek Lewis. Main event the next fight night in a town where nobody has ever heard of it.
Or, you know, you can also go with some no-name, like, American town, like the UFC goes to Pensacola, Florida. The main event, Black Beast Derek Lewis. Against...
Omaha, Nebraska. Let's go there.
Oh, yes. Like, Cheyenne.
I went there last week, so yeah, let's do that. That's within my range.
Of course. Like, Cheyenne, good downtown scene. They got a good,
some great
nice little civic
there.
Center. Awesome. The brilliant beaches of Cheyenne. Yeah, so no, Black Beast, Derek Lewis, fantastic performance, fantastic scream. You know what else I noticed that he does is this little awkward, like, crawl. It gets sexualized, too. He kind of, like, sticks his tongue out and, like, rubs his chest against the floor. Like, snake-like, and just stretches his body. And it's
showing the ladies
disturbing.
that he's also a beast in the sheets.
Not just a fighter, but also a beast in the love.
Oh, did you check when his pants got pulled down a little bit when Gabriel was pushing him against the cage and he gave the crowd a big old black beast moon?
I was very aware of that. I was too much aware of that. I was way too fixated on whether or not his pants were fully pulled down. I was like looking for extra angles. I was like, damn, does this happen? Can I see a different camera? What's happening here, guys?
There was 2 times in this event when there was a wardrobe malfunction and Stanek completely ignored it.
That's so smart of them. You will only feed the internet fire more by mentioning it at all.
I wish they
asses
would have.
Are out, titties are out. It has to. You have to just roll with it. We want more internet awareness of the wardrobe malfunctions.
And believe me, I checked. I went to the Fight Pass, you know, where you can normally see the red corner, blue corner. And they only had the one camera for this one, so I couldn't get a better angle on any of it.
Exactly. They had to dead it. Let me ask you this. Bigger wardrobe malfunction. Black Beast, Derek Lewis, Marina Moroz.
Well, since Black Beast's ass is probably 19,000 times the size of Moreau's boob, I'm going with the Black Beast. That huge ass.
Yeah, you'd think that you'd get more play off of the titty popping out, but definitely an ass that big deserves everyone's respect. Everyone had to recognize that, oh, wow, yep, I saw it. There was a good bit of crack probably exposed as well.
His ass probably weighs 115 pounds.
Oh, yeah, definitely he can't fight in the same... That ass cheek doesn't fight in the same division as Marina Moroz. It's unfortunate. Moving on from Black Beast and his wonderful wardrobe malfunction / sexualized dance / KO victory. Curtis Blades against Francis... And god damn these Cameroonian names. You Cameroonians, what are we going with on this one? Nyawo? Nyawo? Naujo?
Ngannou.
Ganano? Nagawa.
Ngannou.
Ngano. That's I'm going with Nagano.
Just do it. Whatever. This French, huge, scary man.
This kid, Francis Nagano, is one of the most frightening people I've seen debut recently in the UFC. 2 KO victories in about 4 months now. Granted, not against the greatest opponents in the world, but God damn it, if Curtis Blades didn't get hurt in this fight, there was some serious orbital damage laid out on that poor young man in his debut. Are you impressed by Francis? He's clearly very young in the sport, but he's clearly also a physical specimen. What do you think the ceiling is for this guy?
I think that the ceiling's pretty high for him. I was thinking that Curtis Blades was going to get him down and ground and pound him because Francis in his first fight showed a real hole in his game in that area. And the guy that took him down last time was a lot smaller than Curtis Blades. And I don't think Blades got him down at all. And if he did, it was for a very short amount of time. In this fight, what about that fucking ref, right?
Oh, my favorite part is the doctor's not even questioning. He's like, hey, maybe we should take a look at this. He's adamant, like, he cannot see out of that eye. And the ref's response is instantly says, he says he can see. Oh, it's never occurred to you that perhaps he's lying? That he is not being 100% truthful? That he is trying to win a fight via chicanery? Like, it was a brilliant, MMA ref move, I guess.
I was thinking, we can't trust this referee's decision-making skills. Did you see that shirt that he was wearing? He decided to wear his nephew's shirt as a professional referee shirt. So right there, I was like, this guy doesn't make very good decisions.
Dog, do you see that haircut as well? You want to talk about bad decisions? This guy, someone on Twitter said that he was the most hipster MMA referee in the history of MMA refereedom. That was fantastic. Just a goofy ass thing to say. This is the doctor. This is the doctor's job to determine if people are physically able to continue, and you're just instantly wanted to discount his advice because a fighter said so.
And the ref's like, how many fingers am I holding up? And he's like,
grabs it. He brailled the system. He brailled the system. He knew how to get it done. He's like, there was no instruction told me I couldn't do it by touch.
It's like memorizing the eye chart at the DMV.
That's such a smart move. Oh, that's so brilliant. So poor Curtis Blades got his damn eye imploded. And yeah, Francis Ngannou is pretty much dangerous as fuck. Anything else you want to say? Curtis Blades didn't look so bad in defeat, as bad as his eye got tapped up.
We need these heavyweight guys because the UFC's heavyweight division is terrible. So I would probably take Curtis Blades over Timothy Johnson or Marcin Tybura. So I'm pretty excited for both of them.
100%. Yeah, I think that there's a future for Blades. He probably needs to season up his striking a little bit.
He looks really nervous too, like both at the weigh-ins and today. So maybe he'll calm down a little bit. He's a pretty young guy, right?
He is a young guy. I think, next time he won't be facing such a goddamn freak, and maybe that'll help him calm down. If you have to if you're like, okay, I'm about to get this $35,000 paycheck, who do I got to fight? Oh, this monster? This fucking freak?
Tap out. I would tap out from fear.
Yeah.
The first ever UFC tap out from fear.
Tap out by pheromones. You just understand and smell the chemicals coming off of him that you're a beta to his alpha.
I'm a follower in this pack, Mr. Ngannou.
Exactly. You just worship him and say, yes, I shall learn French. You're right. It's a much more civilized language than English. My bad, man.
Oui.
You mentioned it a little earlier. Timothy Johnson won a lackluster fight against Marcin Tybura. What are your takeaways from this besides Timothy Johnson's gross mustache?
Yeah, I like his mustache. I was hoping that he would rock that mustache today on the show, and it would be glorious.
Just get rid of all this.
It's funny how he's got this, piece of carpet under his nose, above his lip, and then nothing
baby
on his head. And he wouldn't grow it if he
You're a baby. This is kind of what it looks like a little bit when you take away the thing. It's a good mustache, but, I need some friends. I'm not a big believer in just the solo mustache. You got maybe a soul patch. A little chin scruff. Come on, Timothy Johnson. He looks like a cop. That's my problem with him. He looks like a cop.
Yeah, it's really Rod Farber, right? He was Star and Super Troopers. Is that right?
It was that dude from Super Troopers on steroids, though, because not great steroids, like mediocre working steroids.
No, he was just eating at that place with the goofy shit on the walls and the French fries. Oh, you mean shenanigans?
Fantastic, great. I'm super happy about that. Speaking of gross eyeballs, Timothy Johnson ended his fight with a pretty gross eye.
I didn't see it. All I was focused on was his arm broken. I didn't see his eye.
Oh yeah, there was that whole he might have broken his arm thing. Forgot about that part.
Yeah, he didn't close his left hand from like this half of the second round on, so I'm sure that it was broken.
Yeah, that sounds like it sucks. I can't believe he won the fight with a broken arm hand. That's pretty dope.
Rod Farva is a fucking beast, bro. I say give him Derek Lewis next.
Give him Derek Lewis. Give him the bad guy on the from the Highway Patrol people. Whatever.
Who would you pick with Francis Gano and Timothy Johnson?
Gano, no question.
Easy, easy.
Beautiful cover girl. Okay, moving on. Those are the four. Okay, so this was kind of like a tale of two cards. We had the 4 fights in the heavyweight division, kind of stacked up at the front. What would you rank all of the 4 heavyweight fights? You know, because fatties are gonna fatty, and they can definitely put on some boring shit. What did you think about them as a whole?
Oh, shit. Probably, I'm just going to give it a C, straight up C. Without Derek Lewis, it'd be a D, but with him, C.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give it a little, like, little thumbs up on top of it, C+, because the Black Beast definitely made it fun. And as terrible as, some of these other fights were, there was some interesting shit going down, and they're really big dudes. And just the carnival aspect of watching big dudes do anything is always a little bit more entertaining for me.
It seemed like the Croatian crowd really loved the big dudes. They'd land a single punch and then fatty for like 30 seconds. They were still cheering when that single punch. And I was like, come on.
People doubted when they put 4 heavyweight guys on this card, but the UFC clearly tapped into something in their focus groups and their marketing. They knew what the Croats want. They want them big dudes throwing leather.
It was interesting that the crowd was cheering for Dos Santos just because he beat their guy.
Yeah, I guess that was weird, right? He got a huge pop. They were chanting JDS most of the... And he's such a legendary figure. Really, I forgot how much I really loved JDS. And for a while, JDS was the greatest heavyweight in the world. Bar none.
He's probably the most exciting because even though Kane was the best, Kane's fights aren't that fun.
Yeah, and Kane gets injured too much that you can't consistently call him the best. I guess I'd like those few moments where he's not completely, debilitated and handicapped. He's a really dangerous dude. But if you saw him on any day during the time where he was the champion, a lot of dudes could beat him up only because he was very injured. And that makes you less of a badass dude. You know what's interesting? In my own little fantasy world, Brian, I had crowned Ben Rothwell as the UFC heavyweight champion since he beat Matt Mitrione. So technically, this was a heavyweight championship fight that JDS won. So I've crowned him the new heavyweight champion of the world. So
that's some great stuff there. So we're going to have an interim heavyweight champion and then a small cage champion. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have a real champion fight at 198. Man, yeah, shit's really turned around for us.
Like Fabricio Verdum's more like the intercontinental heavyweight champion for me. Okay. Yeah. I'm comfortable with that.
I like it. Intercontinental. So we're talking about pro wrestling?
Yeah, a little bit. I would make him like the South American champion, but that's too, racist maybe.
Well, it's crazy that Sagano and him are from the same place.
Yeah, but you're right. How can you be the world champion and someone else who's also from your country be the South American champion? That sucks.
Well, JDS moved and he's training with the American Top Team or something, right?
Yeah. So technically it's American now.
Yep.
We give him the American pass.
Yep.
If you have, if you set up yourself so you can cash your Social Security check, then you're an American citizen. Boom.
JDS, you're an American, buddy. Welcome.
Welcome on board. We salute you and your path to citizenship. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of these fights on the prelim. Well, we're still in the main card, actually. Goddamn Ego Prokrajic. Jesus Christ, this guy had the will to survive, even though he had no hope of surviving. Jan Blachowicz just basically kept him in just enough to make things dangerous and keep things interesting, which I salute him for, because I thought this was going to be one of the worst fights on the card and ended up being super entertaining. What are your takeaways from this one, man? A really weird one between these two.
I think an easy fight of the night, easily. I thought that Jan Blachowicz, neither of these names are very easy to pronounce, by the way. I thought he was going to put him out early on, and that was not the case. So going forward, I'm definitely going to be fading Jan Blachowicz. But Igor, I mean, give him one more shot. This is his second stint in the UFC, right? God, I mean, just the heart that he showed. Give him another one. And they put him in here just because he's from Croatia, right? But fuck it. Let's go back there again. He can be on that card too.
If you cut this man after that performance, you have no soul, and you have no idea what people want in MMA fighting. That was brilliant. That was awesome. He 205 Diego Sanchez did. No hope of winning the fight, no idea, no tactics on how to do it, just the will to throw one more bungalow and land it right on that chin. And God damn it if I don't love it. It was brilliant.
I thought he almost finished Jan once when he did a Diego type of thing. He lured him in, and Jan actually came in, and then he heard him, put him against the fence. Like, holy shit, you fell for the Diego Sanchez stuff, buddy.
You've been Diego Sanchez.
The Diego Sanchez.
Oh,
like a dirty Sanchez, but for mixed martial arts.
You got me with the dirty Sanchez. Oh, that's too bad. Marina Moroza faced Christina Stanchu. The Iron Lady, Marina Moroza, God, the UFC wanted to push her. They were looking for any opportunity to talk about how good she was doing. I think the biggest takeaway from this fight was that Christina Stanchu has 25 goddamn cats. How do you function a life with having 25 cats, Flyin Brian J?
Well, her nickname's Barbie, yet she's not that pretty, so she just really craves attention. Can't get a man. Bring in the 25 cats.
She, interestingly enough, when I saw her on the scales, I noted, I was like, she looks like a crazy cat woman. And then today during the fights, we heard about the 25 cats. I was like, holy shit! I have cat lady radar.
Even if you have 25 cats, why in the world would you tell anyone that you have 25 cats?
Thank you, Brian. That is the only thing that is the baffling question of the century, my friend. You've hit the nail on the head. Why would you ever, under any circumstances, admit that?
What is the point of too many cats? Like, you have one cat, I'm fine with it.
When you have 6 cats, it's already an issue, and you know you have an issue in your life. And then you go out and purchase an additional 19 kittens.
I think that 3 is, like, 2.5 cats is too many cats.
Yes. It's an over-under on 2.5.
Yeah, and I think that under 2.5 cats is the magical amount of cats if you're a cat person.
Brian, how many cats have you ever owned simultaneously?
0 ever. I've never owned a cat.
Never owned a cat? I've owned a singular cat one time in my life. Had 1 cat.
I think that they're kind of cool, and that they're like really animalistic, and they like pounce on that fucking ball or whatever you have for them, but they smell terrible.
And they shit, and they shit in a box, and there's a box full of shit in your house because you have a cat there. That's the only solution. You are submitting yourself to a life of shit. Yeah, outside cats don't even count as having a cat.
No, but could you open the door and say go take a leak and then it come back inside?
These are not dogs, Brian. These are cats. Yeah, this is the truth. 25 cats. So, Marina Moroza, the Iron Lady, beat the Cat Lady, Christina Tucci. Probably the worst fight. Stucci, whatever her name was. Doesn't matter. Probably the worst fight of the card. Do you agree, disagree?
There was times when it was fun, but you could tell that it was really, kind of low level. They said that Marina Moroza is the number 9 women's strawweight. That does not tell me good things about the strawweight division. That was some pretty low-level mixed martial arts.
She is still riding high off of an armbar against Joanne Calderwood, where Joanne Calderwood, it looked like you could have walked up to her and stabbed her in the heart, and she wouldn't have flinched pre-fight before getting armbarred in that contest. And I don't know. I don't think everyone's kind of rectified that happened enough with regular with the rankings and whatnot. Oh, by the way, if anyone has any questions, you can shout me out on Twitter. You can use the hashtag BTBMS. I don't know. I'm not really checking them, but yeah, hit us up with something. If you're funny enough, you get on the show. Let's move on to the undercard now. This is a really great preliminary card. I had a really good time earlier this morning watching it. I thought that for a Sunday morning card, the expectations are really low, which helps bring up the enjoyment factor when the fights end up being very good. Zach Cummings fought against Nicholas Dalby, securing a unanimous decision victory, mainly by counterpunching him and tapping him up on his face. What were your takeaways from this fight?
They talked about Dalby a lot being a prospect, this kind of young guy. Turns out he's the same exact age as Zach Cummings, so that was one thing that I thought was kind of strange about it. And then people were saying that Dalby, they were holding him really high because of his last fight against Till. He had that massive comeback, but Till lost an entire arm, and so I wasn't that impressed that he was able to go to a decision with a guy with only one arm. That wasn't that great.
Fight, guys. It went to a draw. He had one arm. You should have murdered him.
Zach Cummings, I thought that he was really smart in his post-fight interview. He said a lot of great things. He was very good in his analysis of himself. But it was a pretty fun fight, I guess. It was a long time ago now, it seems. It's 5 o'clock here. That was probably at noon. That was a long, long time ago.
It was forever ago, a whole 3-4 hours ago. That's the interesting thing about these parts. You don't really realize you watch 6 hours of fighting, 7 hours of fighting. It's an endurance test. That's why you need strong drink, my friend.
I set my alarm today for Central Time. I got up at 8:50. The fight started 40 minutes later, and I cracked my first beer at about 9:35 a.m. I was ready for the entire day.
You're living the right lifestyle, my good man.
I try. Right here in central Nebraska, we like our light beers, and we don't care if it's Sunday or Monday afternoon.
Perfect. Light beer is basically water. It's just alcohol-infused water.
I hate light beers. I'm a craft beer connoisseur.
I know you are. I was earlier today drinking some very, very high-class craft beer. It's called Miller High Life. Are you aware of it? Guy's got the light out. You see, that's what, if you're going to be marathon drinking, you need something light.
Yeah, my parents recently closed a liquor store, and I got quite a few free boxes of light gross beer.
Fantastic. Nothing better than free beer.
Yeah, there's good beer, which is craft beer, and then there's free beer, and I will drink all kinds of beer.
Fantastic. All right, back to some of this undercard stuff. Alejandro Perez just absolutely wiped the floor with Ian Antwistle, and Ian Antwistle should be embarrassed by his behavior throughout the fight, accusing him very early of greasing, which was promptly caused to stop in the fight and the referee to check Alejandro Perez with his bare hands, to which the referee then approached Antwistle and said, "He's not greasing. If you keep it up with this fucking bullshit, I'm going to deduct a point from you," and then proceeded to restart the fight, which I thought was the greatest referee moment of maybe the year so far. What did you like about this fight, or did you like it at all, Brian?
I like the fight. I think that Ian got exactly what he deserved. When he's coming into the cage, Brian Stan's saying the shit about him. He's like, "This guy told me that he doesn't have hobbies. He only trains mixed martial arts all day, every day." And I'm thinking to myself, then why doesn't he ever try doing something other than a knee bar? That seems crazy to me. You spend 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week training knee bars. Mm-hmm. Bro, you're obsessed with very small aspect of this game. You should probably broaden your horizons just a little.
The biggest problem with the leg lock is, of course, that the counter to the leg lock is the hammer fist to the face, which is a really hard thing to develop a counter for when you have both of your arms wrapped around another dude's leg. I was happy for Perez here. He seemed like there were some effective leg locks there, but he just seemed like he was double jointed or something in his legs so that he could roll with a lot of it. Seemed like he worked on his defense a lot. And instead of getting his separation and getting back up to his feet in a lot of opportunities, he used this guy going for leg locks to stay in top position, refused to give up the dominating position, and just pounded the shit out of his face. One of the more thoroughly enjoyable TKO victories I've seen in quite a while. I take that back. It was a verbal submission to strikes, a rare one that you see at this level of MMA, at least.
Yeah, that's pretty low. When in the UFC, if you're tapping out to strikes, that's pretty low level. I mean, that happens a lot on the regional scene and amateur MMA.
And it should.
Yeah, but I mean, you're a guy that is obsessed, spends 40 hours a week training. You don't tap out to strikes, bro.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really hard to keep face around your fellow UFC fighters when you tap to strikes. I remember that was a big thing. GSP tapped to strikes, and he never heard the end of it. Um, but then again, he also then beat the shit out of everyone after tapping to strikes. So maybe it's not the dumbest move in the world. But for Ian Antwistle, it was a particularly good dose of shame for him. I think at the end of that fight, despite clearly being out of it and wanting out, he still protested and claimed that there was cheating going on by Alejandro Perez. So a fantastic end for a fantastic dude, I guess.
I'm fading that guy every single time going forward. They check him twice, right? They check him at the prep point, the Flyin Brian prep point. This week is brought to you by Flyin Brian. They rub him down, and then he checked him again when he took his glove off. I think it's pretty obvious the guy wasn't cheating, Ian Entwistle.
Yeah, take it easy. Take a step back. It's not cheating when a dude has very flexible kneecaps and or ankles. Mairbek Taisumov, just blew the fucking water out of this dude, Damir Hatzovic. Poor guy just got pulled in. Really, Mairbek Taisumov is a beast and probably could be, fringe top 10 in the division right now. Some visa issues have prevented him from being able to get some bigger fights and get some fights in the U.S. I think he had a big name lined up already. Just unloaded on him, blew him out of the goddamn water. Anything real positive from Damir, the guy making his debut, or was this all just showcase Taisumov for you?
I thought he had some moments where he got the better of Mairbek. He landed a few good shots, and he is huge, or at least he looked a lot bigger than Mairbek Taisumov.
Definitely.
Mr. Levy, our good friend, said that he sees good things for Damir Hadzovic, but I just want a step up in competition for Mairbek Taisumov. I thought he was really good for a while, and yet he's still fighting this guy's his UFC debut. Never heard of him before. I don't know why that was going on.
Hold on, what did you just ask? I'm sorry, I missed you there.
No, I don't know why Mairbek Taisumov was fighting this guy that's making his UFC debut and not somebody that's actually in the top 15 in the lightweight division.
Yeah, that's the big question coming out of this, right? He's clearly a talent and clearly has proven on that talent. He has 3 finishes in a row, something along those lines. So you have to look for him to take a big step up here. People were looking for him to make a big step up, but I think visa issues have been the big thing preventing him now. He's an Austrian citizen who lives and spends most of his time in Thailand, so I guess his passport and visa issues get complicated for him to do it. But the UFC will figure it out. They got a crack staff on that kind of stuff. Hopefully the next time we'll see him stateside, we'll see him against a top 15 guy, Benel Dariush, someone in that kind of range, in that kind of developmental stage. We actually have a question off Twitter. All That MMA, you can follow him on Twitter at All That MMA, says that that Derek Lewis said on FS1 he needs a shower because he had a hairy 1970s porn star on him all night.
Well, for like a minute, but yeah, I see where Lewis is coming from. The dude was wearing a sweater. So if Alejandro Perez is in trouble for maybe greasing, how is Gabriel Gonzaga allowed to walk to the cage with a sweater on?
It is one of the more foul things. It's worse than Ben Rothwell's, and Ben Rothwell's is not desirable.
On the MMA circus, you and Nick were talking about it one time. They're talking about the chest hair and back hair. Dude, I'm 26 years old, and I've got like one hair right about here that I pluck every once in a while when it
Those
comes
will
in.
grow. Those will multiply, my friend.
So maybe once I hit puberty, I'll be able to grow a sweater like Gabriel Gonzaga.
You know what's weird? I have like a patch of back hair. It's just like a small, about hand-sized patch, and it grows there. It's like an angel wing. I have a single angel wing sprouting off my back.
Maybe one of your buddies slapped you when he had some Rogaine on his palm.
There you go.
There's always, what's up, bud? Pow.
There's some explanations for everything in the world. No, that is devastating. 70s style hairy. That is a bad visual. But showering, that's always a good thing after fighting a man in general. Derek Lewis, whether they're hairy or not, you should probably invest in that level of hygiene.
You should shower every Sunday, whether you need it or not.
Yeah, whether you fight in a cage against a man, whether he's hairy or not, just every Sunday let's take a shower there, buddy, okay? You seem like an active dude. You seem like you're not the freshest smelling of fellows.
But not all at once, because that will lower our water pressure in our showers. So if we could, stagger them, that'd be great.
The Black Beast takes up so much water. He like drains the world's water supply per shower. The World Health Organization needs to track his hygiene habits to make sure that he's not having a detrimental effect on world water.
You know those awkward like shower rooms where they got the four to 10 shower heads all pointing at each other, and you're supposed to be like talking to each other while you're getting down? They have one of those just for Derek Lewis.
Yeah, all the shower heads point to him alone. They tried to convince people to share it with him, and they're not about it.
They're probably pretty scared. I mean, he gave them a glimpse of that ass tonight, and they're like, I don't want in there at all.
Everyone got a smell of that asshole, and they were like, damn, I'm not sharing the shower with the black piece.
I'm going to step in this ass water, before it gets to the drain. I'm going to pass on that.
Everyone's like doing the hydraulic analysis to see like where the flow will go. They're staying as up drain as far away from Derek as possible.
Be sure to wear your shower shoes.
Yeah, definitely get some sandals going before you get in there with the Black Beast. Okay. The first fight on the Fox Sports 1 card was Damian Stachik against Philip Pecht. He got the submission in the first round. Philip Pecht came in here hyped. He's a hometown favorite. He had 2,000 people buying tickets for him. He was amped at the face-offs. He went right in his face, showed him he wasn't here to fucking play games. Went out there and got played like a goddamn fool. Impressive stuff from Damian, or not so much, in your opinion?
I mean, I don't really care. I was doing film study for this guy, Filip Pejic. His opponents, their combined record is pretty terrible. So, way to go, Damian. But I don't expect too many great things from you.
Yeah, let's not get down on Bellator so much for having them have fighters who are forced to sell tickets when the UFC is clearly taking and milking advantage of a guy like Philip Pecht, putting in this joke of a dude who can sell 2,000 tickets in Zagreb. That apple's not falling too far from that tree with what Mr. Scott Coker's doing. So I see you out there, UFC Europe. I see what you're doing, putting a guy like Philip Pecht out here to get goddamn schooled like a clown, selling 2,000 goddamn tickets, bringing you $200,000 worth of goddamn Serbian whatever fake money they got in Croatia.
I hope that he got like a commission cut on those sales, because the commission on those 2,000 sales is probably more than his fight purse.
Yeah, definitely he should at least get a 10-15% cut, just a salesman fee. He should negotiate that. Sean Shelby, look out for your boy. Come on, 2,000 goddamn tickets sold. Fight Pass prelims. The featured bout on the Fight Pass prelims was Lucas Martinez. This is a good fight in my opinion. I really like this fight against Robert Whiteford. Goddamn, the UFC was trying to hype up. This is the second hype job of the fight was Robert Whiteford. Brian Stan was in love with this guy on the Fight Pass earlier this morning. But Lucas Martinez didn't give a shit. He was just picking him apart. Went to a split decision, but I scored this fairly easily for Lucas Martinez, a 30-27 for him, in fact. Where did you score this fight, and did you think that the decision was controversial?
It seems like it was so long ago. I think I forgot, how I scored each round, but I definitely scored it for Lucas Martinez. There was a guy on Twitter that I saw that was outraged that Robert Whiteford lost. He thought that was a terrible decision. And
yeah, it's like J-Boy something, and I think you're one of my Twitter followers, bro. Come on. You know what's up. You know Lucas Martinez won that fight. Don't fucking play games. We know you had money on it. We know you're a degenerate. You gotta see through the bias, brother. See through the bias.
Yeah, Martinez easily won that fight. There was, even Whiteford thought that he won the fight when they read the scores. He said, "No way," and he's flailing around, getting upset. Like, dude, you fucking lost. I don't know what to tell you. I think the statistics had Whiteford maybe winning the first round, but 2 and 3 easily for Martinez. Could be the 30-27, but at that point, though, when there was the one judge that gave it to Whiteford, I was thinking, oh my God, we're in for a long night of judging here.
Yeah, right. There was some questionable things happening judging-wise. There was a 30-27 somewhere in this fight that was just absolutely like, what the fuck was going on there? Maybe it was with the women fight. No, I don't know.
That's been the first night with Bojan Velekovic and Alessio De Cirico.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we knew from the get-go. And this is tough because this is another case where the UFC is regulating because there's no athletic commission inside of Croatia, so the UFC takes it on themselves to be their own regulator. Shout out to Mark Radford and his goofy-ass scarves. So this is the UFC's crew. This is their people going on vacation, going to Zagreb, having a good time, getting your yucks in, getting a couple drinks on, and then going to judge a few fights. But God damn it, if you're supposed to be the best of the best, if you're supposed to be UFC approved, don't be so fucking stupid with your goddamn judging. this decision in the first fight, I think, was a complete robbery. I scored it to Alessio DeCiccio, whatever the fuck you want to call him. DeChurro, whatever. But Mr. Bojan, was clearly the fighter that they wanted to push, clearly the hometown name, and he sweeped the card, or he sweeped the scorecards with the unanimous decision. Did you find it as much bullshit as I did, Brian?
I scored it for Velekovic, but I remember tweeting.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh man, fuck. No, I remember saying that it wasn't a robbery by any means. All 3 rounds were just razor thin.
What was your scorecard? Do you remember?
I probably gave it 2-1 for Velekovic. I think it was the last round where Alessio DeCiccio really turned it on.
Really took it on, yeah.
So I think that we could expect pretty big things from DeCiccio there. He showed a lot of nice movement, a lot of combinations, a lot of will to fight. And Bojan, I don't care how to pronounce this guy's name. He looked okay. He won the fight, but I don't think that he looked as good as DeCiccio. Yeah,
definitely. I think there's a lot more upside on this Alessio guy. There was, out of the 3 fights of the 6 fighters in the Fight Pass prelims, 4 of these fighters were some of the more exciting fighters that I saw on the whole card. So as a Fight Pass subscriber, I'm super happy with how that service is going and super happy with the quality of fights that we're getting. I think that this boded really well for these 2 young fighters. I thought that it was a great learning experience for Alessio despite the L. Just more onus on him to kind of be more active and take more advantage of the fights where he's in. But that 30-27 card, I really feel was just unforgivable, and just
I think I have an explanation for it.
Yeah.
So early on in the card, right? These guys, like you said, they go over there. They're on vacation, kind of. They went out. They had a few too many drinks last night. Early on, they're a little bit hungover. This guy, the one guy, he's a little bit extra hungover. It took him a while through the card to get some water in his system and regain his full composure. So that they should just not let the guys drink so much the night before. That's got to be the only explanation. The guy was a little hungover.
Put these guys on an 8-drink minimum the night before. We understand it's Croatia, so you're getting your 8 drinks, but 8-drink minimum, right? That's enough.
We talking 8 pints? Because if I'm going to be able to get those big old 32-ounce 8 of those.
Oh no, that's not allowed.
Okay.
Is that a Croatian thing? I thought that was exclusively German.
I have those in Nebraska, so I have no idea. We got.
Yeah, it's that the concept of big ass jugs has not gone global at this point.
Well, okay, so we get 8 pints. I'm fine with 8 pints. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 pints you can turn in 1 pint for a shot. If someone buys a round of shots for the whole bar, that doesn't count.
Oh God! I hope we got some rich guy in there getting us to actually having 12 drinks.
Well, you're sitting there, and if you and I went out and we were like, listen, we're gonna have 2 drinks and we're gonna be out. If some girl came up to us and just fed us 2 free shots, those don't really count. We still have to sit and have.
She bought them, right? Did she buy them?
Yeah. You can't buy them.
Okay, so I get to buy 8 drinks. This is making a lot of sense. I want to talk to some guy that's already really drunk. We're going to become great friends, and he's going to buy me a bunch of drinks.
Yeah, just be like, you grab this round, buddy. I'll get the next one. And then just keep convincing him that it's his turn.
And then I walk away, and I find the next poor sap. Like, hey, I'm from America. Are you from around here? And we talk, and he buys the drinks.
We just need to learn enough Croatian that we could say, hey, I'm not from around here, buddy. Could you get me around? Flawless plan.
Cerveza? Do we say cerveza there, maybe?
Not even close.
Okay. Well, I'll give it another go sometime.
That's good. That's a good starting point. I think cerveza's become international. If you ran into a bar in the middle of the Soviet bloc and started just shouting cerveza, someone will eventually put a beer in front of you.
I'll just tap on my empty.
Yes. You just shove it in his face and tap at it. International negotiations by Flyin Brian. Just being a diplomat right here. Get another one of these, buddy.
I think it'll work, and if it doesn't, I don't care.
Yeah. It's one of those things you gotta swing if you're gonna try to hit a home run. Gotta swing at the pitch, baby.
All of them, every single one. It's fine outside. It's still swing at that son of a gun.
Swing at that motherfucker. All right. The only fight we didn't talk about was Cyril Asker getting knocked the fuck out by Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier, a great American air traffic controller, and we salute the service he does to this country. And Cyril Asker is a French cop. So You got your just desserts, in my opinion, Cyril Asker.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan said in his post-fight interview that he was going to try to make 205 pounds. I just don't know how he's going to do it.
That looks like a task. He at least got 40 pounds to go. He's at least got 40 pounds.
What did he weigh in at? The dude is huge.
I think he was one of these 245ers, 240, 250 or something like that.
I mean, I guess if Fat Chicken Love and Daniel Cormier can do it, maybe Michael Clark Duncan can do it too.
He's got to make some lifestyle decisions if he wants to make it there.
And he looks pretty filled out too. You know, he's not fat by any means, so he's going to have to lose a ton of muscle.
He's got to make some life decisions. He's got some decisions to be making if he wants to make noise at 205. He had a good KO. Counts off to him. I thought it was kind of sweet.
It was a great thing early on in the day. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, if you're going to knock a dude or winner in my book.
Yeah, second fight of the night. It was actually like 9:30 a.m., 10 o'clock in the morning. You're getting me pretty amped. I'm a fan. I love Michael Clark Duncan.
Shout out to Michael Clark Duncan. All right, Flyin Brian J. We've broken down the whole card. Let's give people the grades and put a bow on it. Before we give out our grade for the entire card, A to F, what was your fight of the night, and what were your two performances of the night? Fight of the night first. Fight of the night,
easy. Jan Blachowicz versus Igor Packerjack.
Yep, Crackerjack.
Igor Crackerjack gets one of the $50,000 for fight of the night, and then the Black Beast probably gets two performance of the nights.
Yes, give that man as much money as possible, please.
$100,000 to Derek Lewis.
Yep, 100% agree. Igor Prokrayak against Jan Blachowicz gives my fight of the night, and got the best grade of the fight. I gave it a B+. My fight of the or my KOs of the night, my performance of the night. Yeah, you got to give the Black Beast Derek Lewis one, and I'll give another one to Mairbek Taisumov. I know $50,000 goes a long way over on the shores of Thailand. So have fun with the lady boys in that free money there, Mairbek. Overall, A to F. What are you going to score this thing? Granted, we score on a curve here, man. So think about circumstances. It's Sunday morning. Not a lot going on. You didn't have to sacrifice a whole evening of your weekend. You didn't have to sacrifice your social life. What was your grade on this card?
I'm going to go with a B-. I would have landed at a straight-up B, but I know that it's pretty great that we got it on Sunday morning, but I can't drink as much as I usually do on a Saturday night card because it's a school night, it's a work night, so I knocked it down to a B-.
Yep, you got to be conscious about the Sunday thing. There is, like, hey, you're not inconveniencing my life, but there's also I can't get blackout drunk, so you're playing games. Playing games with my heart, UFC. I gave this card a B. Had a thoroughly enjoyable time watching every moment of it. All right, that's it for Before the Baldman Speaks. I'd like to take this second to thank my guest today, Flyin Brian Jeffries. Brian, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you on social media, what you got going on, because you always have a lot of shit going on, my man. So take it away.
I think that if they made it to this point in the show, they know where to find me. I'll see you guys on my channel. Thanks for having me, Andrew.
For sure. Yep. Thanks for the people who stick around and watch the show to the bitter end. We really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. I was happy to return to doing this show, and we improved the audio quality. We're doing a couple other things. We're moving this podcast, or we're moving this YouTube show to a podcast. So look out for this first episode to be available on iTunes sometime later this week. I'm hoping that with iTunes verification, it should be up there by like Wednesday at the latest. But look for it Monday, Tuesday. Thank you again to Flyin Brian J. Thank you to everyone who helped me with this show and helped me along the way, giving me advice with audio equipment, with technical issues, with search engine optimization. You guys know who you are. Thank you very much. And thank you most of all to the listeners of Before the Baldman Speaks. I'm Andrew Lawrence. You can find me on Twitter at TheClownKid. Thank you for watching. Peace out.